Nice. I like that. Cream, no, crisp and clean, says JR. All right, here we go, folks. Noon Report Live. All right. Hello, one and all. It is Juan. Folks, we are ready for a big week in store. Hi, there's Crystal. Hola, there's Jane Rice. Don't miss tonight. Lynn Miller's here. Folks, don't miss tonight. Big show tonight. Wait till you hear the guests that we're going to have. Juan After Dark coming up 7-ish, unless something else happens, between now and then. So this is the Noon Report. Remember, if you're watching in a replay, you can always just do hashtag replay. Thank you. Roberta Farrell says we are good to go. She is, folks, we had a false alarm last night. Yep. Team Juan was ready. Ann and everybody, but I just about 12:04. I was just about to get on Route 10, and my source called back and said it was not what we initially thought it was, which is fine. But the point is, it was another drop and go. Thought we had a big story that we were going to come to you from. So I've been running around this morning. You can tell Juan's a little red. We're going to be live on the radio in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Folks, remember, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Visit them. Visit them. They are a great business. Support them right off of Route 4. Go in and buy a plant. Go in and buy something. They're terrific. And also, I will buy a drink to whoever does a free consultation with Tom Bryan at Ameriprise Financial. We have to support our clients. We have another great one, by the way. And again, just a reminder. So a week from, we're about to go live on the radio, but a week from tomorrow night is the vigil for Charlotte Lester. And all right, and we're going to be live in just a minute. Wait for our cue. Yes. Five. At 12:06 on this, folks, God is good. What a beautiful day. I love the month of May, and especially when you hit these weeks, because it's just terrific temperature. Good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I want to welcome everybody tuning in. It's getting more popular on our live stream. It's Facebook Live, John DePetro Show. This is the Noon Report. Some people are watching it live, like Lynn Miller. Others watch it a little bit later at their leisure. Then people start to watch it about Spotify and YouTube as we make the rounds. So behind me, you can see that is the Den of Thieves. That is the Rhode Island State House. That is a place that is in disarray right now. And I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, folks, as we are, again, right now at 12:07 on this Monday, and we're always ahead of the curve. The rest of the media isn't telling you what's happening here, but we're going to tell you what's happening. Folks, this portion of the program, though, it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. What a season they are having. They are just having a tremendous season at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Stop it and see them. Now, I share their Facebook page because for very good reason. Because they have an excellent one. They put a lot into it. That's also, if you're a business, as I try to tell people, your Facebook page, I want you to think of it as your store window. If you had a department store, would your department store have last year's fashions, right? What they were wearing last year? Would it still say Easter? Or would it have a nice spring, May message? I think we know the answer to that. So, but with PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, you can see exactly the quality merchandise. Remember, you're shopping local. One thing, I always support local businesses, not a chain person. I like to shop and help the local business. You can do the same. At PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, right now, they have great selection, vegetables, herbs, annuals, perennials. They're hanger moss baskets, 10, 12-inch patio pots. Folks, what a tremendous job they are doing. You're going to love it. Pop in. Support them, right? Of course, someone said, do you mind if I mention that? No, of course, they love it. Steve and Debbie and Junior and Byron, they've become friends of mine. Screen loom, black, brown, hemlock mulch. It's worth the ride. They grind. Next day off is Christmas Day for them, I kid you not. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, where they have tropical hibiscus, mandevilla plants. Look for them. Take the ride. 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. And especially right now, when I say they have tremendous, as far as the patio pots and the vegetables and herbs, it's really impressive. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Stop in. Hey, it's a beautiful day. It's going to be a dry week. Stop off and see them. Well, folks, good afternoon. After what was a very eventful weekend, as many of you know now, we go 7 days a week. Something that's become wildly popular is Cranston PD Live, and you can see that now. Every week, our YouTube presence is growing, by the way, and that's going to continue to grow. I mean, the goal eventually is to get the YouTube crowd even with the Facebook crowd. It's going to take some work, but we're up to it. When that happens, then look out. But anyhow, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. But if you visit depetro.com, you're going to see that we have all the latest videos of Cranston PD Live. Saturday night was good. It was the first time we were out on a Saturday night. It was a different feel. It was different calls. This time of year, you get different calls. So, but it's when we talk about first on the scene, I mean, we're there. I'm with Sergeant Corvesi, Juan and the Paisan, and we're there before the fire trucks arrive. And someone had set off some fireworks and started a fire, as a matter of fact. Then you see the person taken into custody. And then the same thing, we were the first ones and only ones on the scene Saturday night when there was a DUI and a guy rammed into a light pole, and then he was arrested for that. But folks, it's all on the website, depetro.com, which is right by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Folks, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge, they're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. So, we are, what the rest of the media is not going to tell you, I don't believe. And there's different levels to it. So just hear me out. One of the things is this Biden bad poll. We are linked. We are not linked with power players in Washington, to say the least. And we have a voting problem. We have a voting problem because the people that the voters want are not being named the winners in the elections. So now next hour you're going to hear myself, Justin Katz, Politics This Week. I have a big problem with our voting, but I don't hear, for whatever reason, the Republican Party doing anything about it. Now, those in Massachusetts, they have, and good afternoon to everybody listening, whether you're listening in Bellingham or Rentham or Douglas, they have, they've had their challenges with the Republican Party, clearly, in Massachusetts, but Rhode Island, it's even worse. Excuse me. And Rhode Island, as we've talked about, that Mayor Fung should be Congressman Fung. And he should be down there in D.C., and he's not. But I want to touch on this is a big week. Governor McKee, once again, declared a COVID state of emergency, which, of course, it's ridiculous. The guy, I'm all jokes aside, as much as he provides some entertainment, but he is so not the right person. Look at that. No public events. Governor McKee's public schedule, Monday, May 8th. No public event. I mean, it's just a joke. He's not the right person for the job. And more important than that, what I think is even larger is that's not who the voters wanted. But Kathy Gregg, Governor McKee extended the state of emergency one more week until the official May 11th end of the federal public health emergency. And for a very good reason, is because he doesn't want to know what it's like to govern when he doesn't have all that COVID money coming in. And and by the way, I also want to be really clear. I'm not convinced he can govern with all that without all the federal COVID money coming in. Keep in mind, Governor McKee, the whole thing of the ad and the mother, right? And they're playing cards. The governor, and JR loves that. Who is mother? And, your ma says you got to play the hand that you dealt and blah, blah, blah. And there they are playing Mother May I at the kitchen table. And again, I'm not knocking the first mother. I'm not knocking, I think his son came up with the concept. It's not a matter of that. But what I'm talking about was that interview with Governor McKee lost his mind when Ed Fitzpatrick, still my favorite interview, at least in the last 12 months, where Governor McKee lost his mind. Because Ed Fitzpatrick said, well, many would argue you actually dealt a really good hand because you had $2 billion to spend, and you were coming out of the pandemic. As someone said to me, every time Governor McKee was holding a press conference, he was announcing, this is reopened, this is reopened, this is reopened, right? It's like Oprah with the you get a car, and you get a car, and this is reopened. And now this, and so this whole business of, hey, you got to play. We were dealt a tough hand. Not really. Raimundo was dealt a tough hand. We were dealt a tough hand. He wasn't dealt a tough hand. So for the past 2 years, since March of 21, Governor McKee, talk about flush with money, right? I mean, he is like a sailor on leave with a pocket full of cash to blow on a Saturday night. So now he's not going to have that extra COVID money. I actually think it's embarrassing that we're the last state to still be in a COVID emergency, but it's all money-based. But now he has to try to govern. Now, there's something also very significant that's happening. And this week, coming up on Thursday, we're going to talk to some of our allies, so to speak, or correspondents. Many of you know, no one has dedicated more time towards the border crisis and the illegal immigration problem, at least in Rhode Island. Now, that doesn't stand for Massachusetts. Okay, I'll grant, Howie and Cooner, they've done that. Definitely Howie for a long time. But aside from that, and in Rhode Island, they don't even talk about it, right? They don't even talk about it. And our laws, there I was Saturday night, I'm with Sergeant Corvesi. We pull someone over, there's a language barrier, and it doesn't have a license. He even said years ago they would have arrested the guy and they would have towed the car. Now it's a citation. That's because of the progressives winning the battle. That's because of Governor McKee. But what you have to really look at is what's happening at the border. Because we are about, it's not your imagination, folks, we're about to have an explosion with all the migrants that want to, illegals, migrants that want to come in. So some of the headlines at 12:16, and I'm going to bring this back to Rhode Island in just a moment. Migrants surge U.S. border. Pandemic era expulsion law sunsets. Then what are we going to do? Let's take a guess where they are targeted. Let's take a guess that Rhode Island, McKee is saying, come on in. Right? I want to remind you that no one brings up the fact that the lieutenant governor, who's one of the front runners for that congressional district 1 seat, Sabina Matos, right? That she believes if you land in Rhode Island, I want to be really clear about this. Governor McKee, Matos, they believe right now, as we speak, at 12:17 on this Monday, May 8th, excuse me, that if someone's standing in Mexico, if they arrive in Woonsocket, Central Falls, Providence, Pawtucket, next Saturday or a week from Friday, whenever, the moment they get here, boom, they're a Rhode Island citizen. That is moronic, ludicrous. Folks, I was in Eastern Europe. At no point, last March, at no point did I ever consider myself a citizen of Poland. At no point did I say, oh, it looks like I'm now a citizen of Ukraine. I mean, it's insanity. And they get no pushback on this. You know, I also saw this, homeless encampments exploding in size all over the country. People have to ask themselves, is this the type, do we want to live this way? Because I'll tell you, as I post this stuff on social media, there's a lot of pushback. There's a lot of people that don't understand the law. There's a lot of people, they don't care what the law is. I also saw Robert Kennedy Jr. blames CIA for JFK assassination. He's going to be a problem for Biden. Make no mistake about it. But you have to ask yourself, look at the desperation. McKee is barely governing. McKee is a red flag to all those illegals. Come north. Come here. The people of Rhode Island want to, take care of you. Something that no one touches on is, folks, all these people at the encampments. Now, I was talking about this with someone on Friday, and there's a lot of misinformation. But I was speaking with someone on the east side on Friday afternoon, and he was telling me about the homeless problem in and around North Main Street, where they literally have to step over people. And something he said was, they're all white. Now, there are some black homeless people, but by and large, they're white. So when you have, everyone talks about housing, no one brings up the fact housing shortage. When you have 100,000 illegals in Rhode Island, they're not on the street. Some people say, oh yeah, they're camping. I don't know where these people come up with this stuff. No, they're not. They're all in those, now they live 9 and 10 in an apartment, but off Manton Avenue and Oneyville, Silver Lake, Central Falls, Pawtucket, they're living in those apartments. And people, as much as, listen, I think there should be a process. I know employers that need workers, but it's got to be a system. It can't just be like stowaways. It can't be a bum rush to get over the border. And the amount of money that they pump and send out of here. But no one brings up the fact that, gee, if we didn't have 100,000 illegals in the state, all of these, because it is, I'm out there, I see them. It's primarily white. Not all, but they're white. Do you know in LA, think about this, there are no Asian homeless people. What does that tell you? In Los Angeles, there's 70,000 homeless people. There's no Asian homeless people. They have a different mindset. They have a completely different family structure. They work. If you're at a public school, if your child goes to a public school and you've gone to honors night recently, maybe for the spring, who's winning all these outstanding student awards? But I again, anyone, you can take away from that whatever you want, but 70,000 homeless in LA, and none of them are Asian. Mostly, predominantly white and black. Some Latino, not many. But in Rhode Island, I can't believe these people that say, yeah, that's all the homeless of these. No, it's not. They're in apartments. You underestimate them. They have a whole network set up. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Now listen, why not improve the look of your home or business with J. Perry Paving? High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, 20 years experience, specialized commercial paving, residential paving, seal coating patios. J. Perry Paving. Free estimate, any project, Call them today at 401 732 1730. 401 732 1730. Letter J, J Perry Paving. If you can hear my voice right now, whether you're in Bellingham or Uxbridge or Attleboro or Rentham or Lincoln or Smith, if you need to get your driveway or patio or parking lot paved, call J Perry Paving. Experience, resources, skills, licensed and insured contracting company. Affordable. Hey, asphalt, smooth, safe to drive on. And I also want to be very clear. There's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of contractors that are ripping people off. Notice McKee won't give Attorney General Peter Nerona the tools he wants. And I want to give him a platform, by the way. But he needs more bodies to go after a lot of these contractors. I'm telling you, with J. Perry Paving, you're not going to find that. I go out, they do fantastic work. I have filmed them, and I put my name on them, basically. When I'm endorsing them, that means there's someone you want to work with. 401 732 1730, free quote. And remember, no one treats veterans better than J. Perry Paving. 401 732 1730. If your mom or dad or uncle or son or sister or grandfather is a veteran, contact J. Perry Paving. You know what makes a great Father's Day gift? Get the driveway paved. How about Mother's Day? You know what your mom would love? A brand new, beautiful driveway. J. Perry Paving. Call for a free quote. Give them a shot. 401 732 1730. Folks, look at right now. I mean, the state, I'm not trying to get people in a panic, but the state is, Governor McKee is clearly not up for the job. He is at war with the media. His lieutenant governor is now running for CD1, so she's not focused on her job. I'm not saying that's a big thing, but, you know, the general treasurer, you don't hear anything about him, really. Secretary of State, they are trying to dance with these voter fraud allegations, but the Rhode Island Republican Party is giving them a free pass. The one person who is making noise is Attorney General Peter Nerona, who's basically, folks, and the way I interpret it, people have to decide. You know, the old adage and the expression, crime doesn't pay. Do you want to end that? Because many times in Rhode Island, because of lack of resources, crime does pay. How many people, if you're listening right now at 1225, you know of people that rip off people and other the system. And a big part of it is, notice, McKee, Governor McGreed, who does not belong in that job, he has no intentions of funding and getting stronger law enforcement. Quite the opposite. They like the fact that there's really not enough resources to go after. And you're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing it in real estate. You're seeing it in banking. There are people that are ripping off the system. And the problem is they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it because it's an element of, you know, yeah, crime doesn't pay. Police can only do so much. The Attorney General's office is backlogged. You have murder cases that haven't even gone to court yet. And we certainly have the police that are out there doing their job. But I don't think it's an accident that Governor McKee really has no intentions of funding the Attorney General's office. But something that I want to bring to your attention that no one is talking about at 1226 is we are a bullseye. We are, you know, who is speaking out on behalf of you? Is Senator Whitehouse? Is Seth Magaziner? Cicilline's checked out. McKee has a Rhode Island is open for business sign up for all the illegals that are about to come pouring over the border. These surges are real. And what happens when those happen? Crime goes up. Accidents go up. How about the amount of accidents between drugs, drug use? Right? Like they're so... And now, Governor McKee's solution is he's going to start to build homeless villages. And the first one they're going to put up is in Burrillville at Zambarano Hospital. They want to ship the homeless out of Providence and send them up there, out of sight, out of mind. But that just means other people will replace them. I have to admit, if someone told me a while ago that they were going to put a homeless village in the northern part of the state, like on the Zambarano campus, in the past I would have thought, no way. The reps up there, right? Representative Place, State Senator Jessica De La Cruz, no way. They're silent. Folks, the Rhode Island Republican Party is silent about it. This portion of the John DePetro Show, folks, it's brought by Falcon Pest Services. Now listen, over the next several days, weeks, months, you're going to be dealing with pests. Inside, outside, home, business. Call Falcon Pest Services. Call today, free quote, 401-739-1322. 401-739-1322. Serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts, they'll help you deal with termites, or ants, or bed bugs, or roaches, or mice, or rats, or mosquitoes, many other pests. I know some baby rabbits got into their basement. There was someone else, a squirrel, get into their attic. Folks, call Falcon Pest Services, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Multifamily housing, condos, apartments, extermination services for restaurants, office buildings, schools, hotels. Falcon Pest Services. Call John and Kelly. And also, they have a tremendous opportunity right now. They're hiring for the right person. Falcon Pest Services. Call them 401-739-1322. You can find them on Facebook, and then their website is falconpestservice.com. Well, folks, good afternoon. Right now at 12:29, you're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. You don't hear anyone locally, migrant surge, U.S. border, as that's about to end. Now, we're going to cover it on this program. But you know, by and large, most local media, they don't say anything. They don't question it. No one brings that up. At the Rhode Island State House behind me, right? They passed to let them have licenses. That's appealing. Let's just say you have to put your mind you got to think the mindset of the illegals that are going to come in. Migrant surge. U.S. prepares for Title 42 to end. Think of the economy right now. How much is it to go to the grocery store? How much is it for eggs? How much is it for building materials and everything? Things are tripling. Biden is a disaster. Governor McKee, he's the greatest president Rhode Island's ever known. Birds of a feather. To me, that's disqualifying. That shows you how unplugged Governor Magritte is. Should we really expect anything more than a guy that, at his age, still lives with his mother? Under set of white tents at the U.S.-Mexico border, dozens of Venezuelan men waited. Some sat on curbs, metal barricades. When they opened, they filled up. Young men, they're like armies. Rio Grande, Mexico. U.S. Custom Border Protection, facilitating expulsions 3 times a day. 30,000 illegals, mostly from Venezuela, have entered the U.S. region. You know what else and keep in mind, as many of you know, I go to D.C. in September. 1,700 migrant border patrol agents encountered in the first 2 weeks of April. That's compared 1,700 migrant border patrol agents have encountered. Now you have 30,000. The surge is real. This is all because of Title 42. And that is coming to an end. And folks, what is McKee doing? Is McKee doing this to protect you? Now you have, keep in mind, and look how the media likes to hide it, we have cartel violence in our area. The media all jumped up about Mount Pleasant and the kid that the coyotes, the cartels were threatening. This kid in Providence, they were going to kill him and his family. Do you notice the upticks in shootings and violence and other crimes that are taking place? And now, as many of you know, on the weekend, a lot of our local media outlets, they're not even reporting on it. One local reporter even confided to me, their news stations, they have no interest in covering all the cartel violence or the illegals committing crimes in Rhode Island. Think about that for a moment. right? Folks, who is going to protect you? Not Governor McKee. Not Governor McKee. Governor McKee, you have, I mean, it is comical, as I was talking about last hour, that right now, I mean, the Biden administration, it is a disaster. His polls are a disaster. Right now, election held today, President Trump beats Biden and handily, right? By like 7 points. And I know that there's a poll that shows DeSantis does as well, but right now President Trump is stronger than than DeSantis, excuse me, as I talked about. And it begins and ends. It does. It really does begin and end with the economy. This is crazy, right? Governor McKee writing his letter to the to the Fed. Yeah, they really listened to him. They raised it again. But what's happening right now? This is an onslaught. That's what's taking place right now at our southern border. And look at how, like, the way they phrase everything locally. Locally, they like to say, for instance, in Burrillville, oh, those are for cottages for homeless families. Yeah, folks, don't believe it. It's young guys. Look at all the illegals coming pouring in. It's young males. It's young males. Right now, the situation in El Paso, the humanitarian crisis, 2,000 migrants are sleeping on the streets of downtown El Paso. And those numbers are going to skyrocket once Title 42 expires. Folks, it's a disaster right now. Complete disaster. But those people, again, put in your mind, where do you want to go? Okay, we get in. Now what? We want things for free. We want driver's licenses. And more importantly, we want protection. And now you have places like Rhode Island, with the governor, the lieutenant governor. It started with Alorza, right? Seth Magaziner. Come live here. The people of the state are more than happy to pay for you and your family. They are a drain. They're a drain. The drains on our society are getting heavier. Homelessness is a drain. Those that want free housing is a drain. The amount of drug usage is insanity right now. As I go around and cover live stream different parts around the state, the strong smell, if you were out over the course of the weekend, certain parts of the state, Providence, Central Falls, Pawtucket, the aroma of cannabis is like overwhelming. And people are just freaking out, right? Governor McKee, who wants to open centers, safe injection centers. You can maintain your heroin habit. You can have a fentanyl habit, right? We're going to make sure your stuff is clean. You can do your drugs here. Does that sound like a family-friendly state? Rhode Island was known, I'll tell you what Rhode Island was. Rhode Island was a state that it was easy to get around. It was very family-oriented. In the summertime, you do get to enjoy the beaches. You get to enjoy places like Newport and Narragansett. But by and large, it was safe. Well, for the most part, it is. It's safe. You don't have these mass shootings you see other places. You don't have that. Corrupt government, true. But you didn't have the type of individuals that Governor McKee is luring in. You know, and I've highlighted this, and I've come under criticism from the members of the media. But, like, there it will be 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, and they're pulling over cartel members on 95. They're pulling over members of cartels on 146 or in the streets of Providence and Pawtucket and Central Falls. Now, I recognize in the 80s, Central Falls, right? Crystal City was the direct link to Pablo Escobar. Central Falls, as Rolling Stone called it, the cocaine capital of the Northeast. This is different, though. McKee is welcoming. Governor McKee, where I think he's really getting a free pass, he is nurturing a drug culture. And what he's not talking about, because this guy, it is Governor McGreed. It's all about tax money with this guy. Many of these young men, where they have bipolar problems, They have depression problems. They have schizophrenia issues. They should not be smoking heavy amounts of marijuana. Notice Governor McKee, he doesn't even talk about that. It's so irresponsible. I mean, the guy, you've never seen anyone, and again, his war with the media continues. His idea of doing an interview is doing an interview with his pal Pork Boy. It is just a joke right now of of how this type of stuff is allowing with no responsibility, and it's not talked about. Right now at 12:37, your governor, I didn't vote for him. This governor, he will not sit down for an interview with Channel 12 because he hates them so much. He won't sit down with an interview with Channel 10. He won't do an Ask the Governor segment. He will not sit down for a long-form interview with the Providence Journal or the Boston Globe. Zero. 2 years ago, the guy was having 2 press conferences a week. In no way does he take responsibility for what's happening in the schools, with what's happening with young people, with the effects of, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Watch what this summer is going to be like. Try going to the beach in the summertime, and there's going to be weed everywhere. That's not family friendly. Families should not have to deal with that. And the depression, you have guys that are 25 to 30, and they're unemployed, and they have no direction. And some of them do have depression problems and identity problems. And what are they doing? They're just smoking weed all day. They are losing valuable period of time in their lives, and no one is speaking out about it. No one in elected office anyway. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show is brought to you by AtMed Urgent Care. Now remember, if you need urgent care, or a family member, or someone that you work with, go to AtMed Urgent Care. 2 locations, 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston, and also 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich. They're open 7 days a week. They have doctors and nurses. Okay, here's a fair question. This is a fair question. 1, why would I go there when I can just go to a hospital emergency room? I'll answer the question. It's faster. If you have someone who's really sick, or someone who's in pain, or someone they're bleeding and they need to be seen right away, the question is, do you want to sit there as they wait 5 or 6 hours? That's your question. That's the question. Or do you want them seen? I'm telling you, I've been to both locations. I was seen in less than 30 minutes. That's my idea of urgent care, but the choice is yours. Once you start going to AtMed Urgent Care, you're not going to go back and wait at a hospital emergency room again. AtMed Urgent Care. Cost-efficient healthcare alternative to hospital-based emergencies, located right in the Atwood Medical Center, 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston, 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich. 7 days a week, right across from Felicia's on Post Road. It's AtMed Urgent Care. Well, folks, good afternoon at 12:40. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, Saturday night, for those of you that saw it, okay, so Rhode Island, they decriminalized fireworks. Decriminalized fireworks. It's going to be good for the economy, and it's just harmless fun. And for a lot of people, starting the month of June through July 4th, every night, it's like war going on in the neighborhoods. They have to listen to all these. And if you saw, and those of you that missed it, I did post it. You can see the YouTube video on the YouTube channel, John DePetro Show, which is also linked at the website, depetro.com. Remember, if you ever want to find one of my platforms, folks, depetro.com, the website, no I's, DEPTRO. It's one-stop shopping. All the links are right there. But you saw, there was a guy, a man now, not a boy, and he's in the backyard of his apartment, and in the corner, he decides to light off some fireworks he bought. And the problem is, it caught fire to the fence and then the bushes to the people that live behind him. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, I am right there, feet away, before any firefighters are put. I mean, we could see the smoke. I'm with the Paisan. We could see the smoke a half mile away. I don't see anybody talking about, hey, wait a minute, before we legalize fireworks, are people aware they can start fires? Here's my question. Do you think this is going to be the last fire? Or it's going to be the first? It's going to be the first of many. And in different communities, now that was in the section of Cranston off Park Avenue, where I'm not saying the houses are exactly on top of each other, but they're pretty close. Pretty close. And granted, but that could have been a car in the driveway. Now you're going to get an explosion. Um, on Saturday night, when I was out with Cranston Police, episode 21 of Cranston PD Live, there was a vehicle that he crashed into a light post, and then the car was fully engulfed in flames. And there's going to be more of that. Now tonight with Juan After Dark, you're going to hear from someone in Warwick, nice section. 4 black males stole her car out of her driveway. That was the Saturday night that I was out. They then ditched it because then they were trying to get to the highway. They had masks on. They were armed. Like, what is happening around here? Look at what's happening. A lot of the criminals, they're going into the suburban neighborhoods. Crime is coming to your neighborhood. They're not just going to stay in the urban setting. This summer, mark my words, there's going to be more and more armed home invasions. There are people that still, they go to bed, their car's in the driveway, they leave their car unlocked, and they leave the keys in the car. And you know why they do it? Out of habit. Because their neighborhood always was safe. And there was a time they could do that. But the problem now, you have more criminals. You have more people being let in. You have more criminals of opportunity. They hit a street and they hit every unlocked car. And they're looking for money for drugs. They're looking for money, period. And it's about to erupt into the suburbs. Without question it is. And there's no one crying out about it, right? The police can't be everywhere. Now, if you saw, I did post this. I will have it on depetro.com later. Excuse me. But it is on YouTube. And it is on our Facebook channel. Facebook page, and YouTube channel. Where this was in Cranston at 1:40 in the morning. 2 young girls go by, and someone had a camera nearby, captured it perfectly, and they threw a Molotov cocktail. The girls had like 21 and 23, I think. Molotov cocktail at someone sitting in a parked car. Now, I don't know what exactly had transpired, but the front part of the residence immediately went on fire. The car could have caught on fire. Do you notice? I mean, was that happening years ago? Let me ask you, years ago, when you would go to you didn't have the bike paths, but I just think of like Fay Field in Edgewood, where I grew up. You didn't have grown men, adults living back there in tents. These homeless encampments, it's a problem. And as I've told you, what no one wants to touch on, because the homeless advocates are very loud with the whole narrative of that could be any one of us, and that could be you. Excuse me. Many of them are sex offenders. Many of them, the reason they can't get an apartment is because the landlord doesn't want to rent to a sex offender. They're child molesters, they're sex offenders. And so all these, bleeding heart liberals that say that could be any of us and leave those people alone and they're not bothering anyone. Do you like, what is happening in society where you have one group, and it's the progressives. It's that Jacob Meyer, Breyer and Barrington, Tierra Mack, right? The other progressives, that they think it's cute that drag queens would go in and do a story hour with 5-year-olds. Why is that cute? Why should a 5-year-old child see a grown man come up dressed completely and acting as a woman? Why is that so important to progressives? I was at William Hall Library in Cranston. It wasn't a small crowd that came out. It was a big crowd that came out. It was over 100. I'm going to repost that video. And elected officials, and one after another. You know, children as young as 5 should have the right to pick their gender. What exactly are you talking about? Pick their gender. If they want to be the cool kids, they should say that they want to be the other gender. Like, where did this come from? People are shocked there's a backlash against Bud Light. There should be a backlash against Bud Light. I'm cheering the backlash against Bud Light. The brand should cease to exist. Good. Good for all of them. That woman who's so repulsive. You know, my mission was there's this like fratty brand and we like want to be like really inclusive and Dylan Mulvaney and, you know, this guy who's celebrating it's a year that he's been dressing up as a woman on TikTok. Why are we celebrating that? I am glad that this is happening to Bud Light. Because there wasn't a big town hall meeting on it. And there was no one shamed about it. People are answering what they think about it with their pocketbooks, with their purchasing. And the boycott is getting worse. Much like Riley Gaines. Good for her speaking out. This is insanity. You know, that was a grown man that won a women's cycling race in New Mexico and took home a prize of close to $40,000. Why was he in the women's cycling race? Because he grew his hair into a ponytail. He then said, my name isn't Steve, it's Stone, and now I am binary and I identify as a woman. And I'll take the check for first place for $40,000. In total insanity. But look at the Rhode Island progressives, right? Beating you over the head. And especially the Rhode Island Democrat Party. There's no difference between a man and a woman. Trans rights, there's no, Raimondo, there's no difference. Excuse me, there is a difference. As I have said, how come the NBA has yet to draft every woman who plays in the WNBA would like to play in the NBA? The women who play in the WNBA are elite women professional basketball players. Any one of them, if given the chance, would play in the NBA. How come none of them are playing in the NBA? They're not as good. They're not as strong. They can't leap as strong, as high. They can't make it in the NBA. That's a fact. There's no, maybe there is a difference. Leah Thomas, that is preposterous. And it's actually getting worse. Folks, this portion of the John depetro Show is brought to you by Limitless Outdoors, especially on a day like today. Don't you want to improve and enjoy your outdoor space? Call Chris at Limitless Outdoors, 401-580-1852. 401-580-1852. Limitless Outdoors. Their slogan, dream, build, enjoy. How do you want to use your outdoor space? Set up a free consultation. Okay, here's your yard. Here's what we could do for you. How about let's really improve the patio? Let's improve that walkway. Maybe you want to have an outdoor kitchen. Maybe you want to be able to watch TV outside, or landscape lighting, or lawn installation, retaining wall, excavation. How about a nice outdoor fire pit or fireplace? Dream, build, enjoy. Limitless Outdoors. They're amazing. Call Chris today. Free quote. They're based right in Smithfield. 401-580-1852. Because it is limitless. What you can do, look for them on Facebook, and their website is limitlessoutdoorsri.com. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John depetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. This portion of the program is brought to you by Ryan's Appliance Repair. You know, I just got an email the other day from Diane. One, who is that person? There's something wrong with both her washing machine and her dryer. I said, Diane, I emailed her. Call Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401-710-7096. Repairs on all makes and models of appliances. Washers, dryers, dishwashers, stoves, refrigerators, garbage disposal. Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401 710 7096. When your appliance is dying, just call Ryan. I've met his dad. It's a family-run business. They do Saturday appointments. They do 10% discount for senior citizens. Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401 710 7096. And all work is guaranteed for 90 days, parts and labor. Ryan's Appliance Repair. Now, I also want to mention, where is that? Someone asked me about having outdoor cameras at their home and business. They've been hearing me talk about it. They would like to do it, and they're not sure who they should have do it. And I fully recommend Allstate Lock, experts in locking systems and building security. Residential, commercial security cameras. Now, their website, I have a link on my website, depetro.com. Allstatelock.com. Allstatelock.com. You can call them, 401 349 0042. I'll tell you what they bring. They bring peace of mind. Think of this. It's worth it. Your business. Have a security camera in the front, have a security camera in the back. Your home. Have a security camera in the front, have a security camera in the back. Could always be checking on it. There are porch pirates. There are people now. Folks, it's not your imagination. Things are getting dicier. How about in Attleboro? There was an armed robbery this morning in Attleboro. I don't remember the last time I said that. Armed robbery in Attleboro this morning. Attleboro police looking for armed. That means a lot of things can go wrong when a gun is pulled out. A lot of things can go wrong when a gun enters the equation. A lot of things can happen when a gun is introduced. And the problem is a lot of these crimes are being committed by people that are, looking for various cash cigarettes stolen from Attleboro gas station. I mean, these guys come in, they have masks on. 2 suspects robbed an Attleboro business early this morning. Route 1, 4 a.m., robbed at gunpoint. Showed the clerk a gun, demanded money, also took cigarettes, a lighter tray, rolling papers, went off towards Newport Avenue. One's a Hispanic male, another black hoodie. Folks, these are armed robberies. Armed with a handgun. Like I said, a lot of things can go wrong when something like that happens. But this business, federally funded safe injection sites, folks, you think it's bad now. Governor McKee, that is also, I'll just say this. I believe, my opinion, this is irresponsible for any adult. And in this case, it is. It's Governor McKee telling drug addicts, you can, don't worry, you can maintain a drug habit. We're going to test your stuff, and you can, we're going to help you. Like, I received a heartbreaking email from this aunt, and her nephew's had a drug problem, and just, he's been through rehab and detox, and it's been such a long road. And one of the things that has been a deterrent is her nephew's friend died of fentanyl. And so he is so paranoid about it. Now enter Governor McKee. Oh, that's okay. We'll test your heroin and make sure there's no fentanyl so you can safely inject it. This woman, they are beside themselves. So now Governor McKee has her nephew convinced. All right, I guess I want to do heroin again if they're gonna test it for me. That is so. How is that, like, what? Who in their right mind thinks that's a good idea? I've told the story. There are many people in the past that, as much as people made fun of the film Reefer Madness, the fear of what would happen to someone from drug use prevents them from doing it. People say, I'm afraid to do cocaine, so I don't do cocaine. I'm afraid to try fentanyl. I'm afraid to try meth. I'm afraid to try heroin. in case I don't know what it's going to do to me. No, it's okay. You can smoke heroin now. I'm afraid to do it. If you have the McKee Center, oh no, it's okay. We'll test it to make sure it's, pure so you can do it. Suddenly he's the chemist in the French Connection, right? Suddenly he is Walter White, blue meth, 99% pure. Suddenly, when did Governor McKee has become Heisenberg? Like, this is insanity. People are going to be going there. We have a party Saturday night. It's a Friday afternoon. We bought an 8-ball. We're all going to do some coke, and we just want to make sure that it's clean. You bring it to the McKee Center. You're good to go. Have a good time. What? I also don't understand this story. The Rhode Island Attorney General's office said a man accused of killing his roommate in a Warren nursing home was deemed incompetent to stand trial. Robert Hill, first-degree murder, killed 81-year-old John Sullivan, the Crestwood nursing home last month. Sullivan unresponsive with a pillow stuffed in his mouth. Hill told staff Sullivan tried to kill him first. Sullivan was trying to kill him for 5 or 10 years. But my question is, why was that person there in the first place? Right? If he's deemed to be incompetent to stand trial, I don't understand why that person was with the other individuals at that place. I feel terrible for the family. I also just want to mention at 12:58, as much as like many other people. So I'm a Hendricken alum like Joe Mazzulla, Coach Mazzulla, coach of the Celtics, and I think by and large he's done a tremendous job. But that was coaching yesterday that the Celtics blew that. It was. He should have called a timeout, especially in regulation. They didn't need a 3 to win that. Marcus Smart missed that 3 in the end of regulation. You needed a good play to get a 2. You needed a 10-foot jumper. You needed, Tatum going through the lane, and then he either gets it or then he's fouled and he goes to the foul line. It comes down to the players, and then they were sloppy at the end, and they just ran out of time. But that's Doc Rivers at the other bench. All right, folks, at 12:59, here's what we're going to do. I will be doing Facebook Live later. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news next hour, radio only. Politics This Week. Don't miss it with Justin Katz. AM 1380, 99.9 FM. You can listen online at the Facebook, depetro.com. We're back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.